And I Am Baby wants to know, why did Rebel Moon's action sequence have so much slow motion? The obvious answer is slow motion is awesome. These movies are physical. There's a physicality to what our heroes go through. Because I think I'm a fan of beautiful classic artwork or paintings, I like to kind of make the moments into those iconographic frames that you can hang on and see. Otherwise, you just go right by and you'd never have a chance to appreciate the composition, the sort of tension that's created by the characters and how they're pushing the frame in all the different directions. Slow motion tableau. Slow motion tableau. Slow motion tableau. Slow motion tableau. Slow motion tableau.
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening. But are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for Bald Guys and Bad Movies.
Welcome to Bald Guys and Bad Movies, episode 80. I am Troy, here with my very good buddy,
Mike Stella.
Mike. Stella! How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
I see you got the Bald Guy sign all lit up.
I try and keep it lit up.
Yeah, the way it's positioned looks like you're having a ding, an idea.
Yeah, well, that never happens, so.
Well, the idea is, hey, it's time for the podcast.
There you go.
We can say that definitely does happen.
That does happen, yes. I show up for the podcast. That's about it.
What you drinking there? Is that like a...
Iced coffee. I don't drink hot coffee. I like cold drinks, and so I make iced coffee.
Oh, I thought it was like an energy drink or something like that. Some kind of carrot beverage.
No.
Yeah.
Just dirty water.
What the fuck am I talking about? Vegetables.
I eat things that eat vegetables. That's what I do.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, if you think of it like that, you are getting your veggies. That fucking cow ate some grass or whatever the fuck they give cows, other than the chemicals and the hormones that are slowly killing us. But anywho, what are we reviewing this week, Mike?
This week, we are reviewing the cinematic masterpiece that is Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver.
You're all here because there is nothing to return to. Dark days lie ahead of us all. We will teach you how to fight. The Scargiver's among them. Those this village holds most dear. I shall destroy them.
Their nightmare is you and I fighting together.
You must know, I have no choice but to fight.
Will you read in my notes, cinematic masterpiece? I have that and I have it underlined in triplicate. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Snorgiver. The Scargiver is a 2024 American epic space opera film.
He should let other people tell him it's epic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, his mom said it was epic.
Yeah, she's like, this is so epic, Zachy.
Directed by Zack Snyder from a screenplay he co-wrote with Kurt Johnstad and Shay Hatten. A direct sequel to Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
Oh, go figure.
His first epic space opera, 2023. The film takes place on the moon of Velt, where Korra and a crew of warriors ventures to help farmers to defend and fight for their home against the Mother World.
No, that's all. That's it. That's the description.
Stars Sophia Boutella, Jaimin Hunsu, Ed Screen, Michael Huisman, Duna Bay, Star Nair, Fra-Fee.
Oh, Jesus.
Fra-Fee. Elise Duffy.
Oh, there's a lot of people in it.
Charlotte,
there's a lot of people. We get it.
You know, their real world names is almost as crazy as
it's worse.
The character names. Charlotte Maggie, Stuart Martin, Carrie Elways, and Anthony Hopkins reprise their roles from the first film.
I got it. Yeah, I got some comments about that shit.
Yeah, we probably going to cross streams on that fucking comment. All right, Mike. Well, we did it.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you know, I'm going to say the positive is we set a course. We said we were going to watch it, and we watched it.
Yeah, we were steadfast.
So that is I say The positive is less about the film.
It's about us.
More about us.
Yeah, we
the
are
substance
that.
of you and me. Like
we set a goal, and we accomplished that goal.
Exactly. Right. We parked the
we
car.
We should be proud of that.
Parallel parked, and it was perfect. Yeah. Not too far from the curb. It was just right.
I parallel parked today, and it was perfect. I was like, damn, that's a good-ass parallel park job.
Okay. Is that at your local brothel? Where was that at?
Yeah, called Edison Language Academy.
So what do you think, Mike?
No, definitely highly don't recommend. Like, not even if you're curious, don't do it. Because you got to watch the first one to see this one, and like this one,
I think this one is even worse than the first one.
Really? I thought it was like, if I gave the first one like a 1, I give this one like a 1.2. You know what I mean? Like,
no way.
I didn't think it was worse. There were things I thought were worse about it, but the first one was so boring. I could barely get through it. And wasn't the first one like 3 hours long?
It was 134 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. It felt longer than this one felt to me.
Well, I'm just gonna say, I need a laundry meter.
It's time for Mike's laundry meter.
I fell asleep.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You never fall asleep.
Well, it was all that hot reaping of grain action.
Oh, God, dude. Why do we have to have so much fucking grain?
The first 35 minutes was them fucking farming in slow-mo.
One of my comments is, Jesus Christ, slow-mo grain shots?
Yeah.
That's one of my notes.
I've got notes, too. So we're telling people to run far away. Although you're saying this is half a star better than the...
No, not even half a star. Like half, like a quarter of a star. Like an eighth of a star. Like
a drop. A dribble.
A drop. Like if I gave the first one a 1, this is like a 1.2. You know what I mean? Not even a quarter. Like a fifth. You know what I mean?
At least with part 1, they were going places and doing things, even though it amounted to nothing.
Yep.
It kept me from falling asleep at least. This one, with 45 minutes of them farming, it was almost like he was trolling.
He was just fucking with people.
Yeah, I dare you motherfuckers to stay awake.
Yeah.
Epic space opera? Right.
Yeah.
Hold my beer, motherfucker. Well, I can't wait to hear what the point 2 is.
I wasn't as bored in this one as I was in the... I was still very bored, but I was so bored in the first one that I was like... It was like Beau is Afraid level boredom in the first one, almost, right? Okay, so I hated the fight scene at the end of the first one. I thought it was really boring, not much going on, not very dynamic. But I felt like the battle scene at the end of this one was pretty decent. And, dude... One thing Zack Snyder got 100% right in this movie, the explosions. Holy fuck. The explosions were gorgeous.
They exploded well.
No, they really looked good to me. Like when they're doing, like, I hated the backstories.
This is the bar. This is where the bar is.
Right. The only thing good is the explosions.
The explosions had more character development than the fucking characters.
Yeah, totally.
I felt like I really knew that explosion's journey from a spark to a mushroom cloud.
Well, I will say, like, the explosion when they're doing Jamin Hussein's backstory, that was a pretty good explosion. But later on at the end of the battle, when, like, the thing shoots the blast that they're trying to blow up this village with, and it misses, that shit looked really good with, like, the way that the clouds compressed around it and then, like, dissipated. I thought it was, like, a really well thought out explosion. So, I don't know. That's all I got for you.
Well, do you feel like overall, because I've read some criticism online that, everything looks so fake and phony and...
Yeah.
Like it was like even though it was shot on location, probably it's still the way it was treated.
The explosions, they didn't look like necessarily real, but they looked hyper realized in a way that I thought was cool.
They were pretty.
At least they were pretty.
Okay,
they were pretty, and they were like, "Damn, that was dope."
Wait, did you have your America shirt on when you watched this?
No,
that might have influenced your hard on for the explosions. We call that Chuck Norrisism.
No,
damn,
no
man.
Chuck Norrisism.
You see that explosion? Holy shit. Point 2.
I like myself a good explosion.
I'll give you the positives, which is a very short list. And spoilers, We've already warned you not to watch it, but
yeah, don't see it. So listen to the spoilers because you should not watch this movie. No one should watch this movie. If you're a Zack Snyder fanboy, like, dude, I would love to hear you try and defend these two movies.
Oh, they're out. Like there's
I would love to hear them.
5 stars and whoa, this is even better than the first one. Like,
wow.
No.
I agree with that. It's definitely better than the first one in my opinion.
And we'll get into that because that blows my mind. There was one cool moment. It was when Cora had flew up to the ship and Noble found out she was on the ship, and he just kind of quietly walks over to the guard, takes the sword off the guard's back, and the guard just kind of quietly follows him. Mm-hmm. It was a subtle moment. Probably why it stood out to me. Like, okay.
Well, subtlety is few and far between.
I know. He wasn't screaming, "I'm a badass."
Yeah.
You know, it was very cool and cold. So
more of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I say. Like, the stuff is there are small moments that make me think that he could still be there. Well, he could still have something to say if he just gets out of his own way.
I thought the final fight with them sliding down there was some good moments in that. Oh, I have it in caps. Good slow-mo example. As Noble is falling and desperately reaching for his laser sword. See, that accentuates that moment. That's when you use the slow-mo. You hear that, Zach?
Yeah, Zach, stop using it. Like, do not use slow-mo for grain shots.
Yeah.
Your movie's long enough, dude. How much shorter would this movie have been if they'd gotten rid of, like, all the unnecessary slow-mo?
I don't know, man.
I mean, probably would have saved at least 5 minutes, maybe 10. Dude, you don't need slow-mo on harvesting fucking grain. Like, get over it. Fuck. It's infuriating.
The return of Noble, they should have just kept that guy dead and had her fight her surrogate father. I know he's saving this for down the road, but for this particular movie, it would have been much better.
I agree.
Because it just feels like a rehash of what we already got in the first fucking movie.
You're absolutely right. I think it would have been a better movie for it, but he's milking it. He even thinks he doesn't have anything to offer. You know what I mean? Like, he even thinks that he needs to keep this sucker going because if he doesn't, is anyone ever going to hire me again? You know?
Are you thinking that's he got this sweet Netflix deal and he wants to like not give away up? Well, hey, she still got to fight her. She still got to fight her Thanos. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah. Well. Right.
Who knows?
Because but that deflated that fight because I felt like as cool as it was to set up the fight, them sliding, we already fought this motherfucker before. Yeah. And guess what? She kills him for real this time.
Exactly. Go figure.
Yay. It's not like Vader, where Vader had a deeper connection to Luke.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's meaningful when Luke fought Vader. With this guy, he's just
another schmuck.
Some Nazi asshole. So I'll just get it out the way. Just my slow-mo section of my notes. Slow-mo ramp walking. Slow-mo beetle crawling. Slow-mo dandelion blowing. Slow-mo farming, as in all caps. Slow-mo wheat reaping. Slow-mo wheat picking. Slow-mo within slow-mo wheat seed tossing into air. Slow-mo children playing. Slow-mo hoeing. Although, slow-mo hoeing, that could be actually quite nice. Yeah. Slow down, baby. Hold on. Let's savor it. Get the most out of my $5.
That's right.
Slow-mo grain pouring. Slow-mo sack tossing.
Yeah, there you go. I'll take a slow-mo sack toss.
Slow-mo within slow-mo lightsaber fight. Slow-mo within slow-mo explosion. Yeah, there was one explosion that was slow, and then they slowed it down more, and then they went back to the regular slow-mo before they went back to normal speed. Maybe they never went back to normal speed. Who knows? All right, that was the end of my slow-mo. I grouped it all up. Oh, and then I have, why was the shot from inside the water barrel? There was like a one shot was inside the barrel. Maybe that meant something.
Oh, it actually does pay off later.
Okay.
Apparently, Titus is supposed to be a drunk, right? Mm-hmm. And so they show him filling up his flask with water, and so he's stopped drinking. They're showing, and then later on, another guy calls him out, like, "Oh, his flask is full of water. He's even given up drink." I don't know. There's some fucking stupid line about it.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Because they didn't bother making us care about anyone. Cora and her romance with Luke Solo.
No one cares.
Like, It came from nowhere.
Yeah.
When did they have a romantic connection? Like, the first film was just collecting the toy action figures. There was no time to develop any characters. The cybernetic woman.
I think they showed him kind of simping on her a little bit in the beginning of the first movie, but then shit goes down and simping needs to take a back seat to searching for samurais. You know what I mean?
I think I have a note somewhere like, romance should be established. See Empire Strikes Back. Like, while action is happening in the first movie, have more I love you, hate you banter between the two.
Exactly.
He was such a bland character, and he's still a bland character.
They were all bland characters, even when he tried to make them more three-dimensional and give them more, like, I don't know, edge. They were just dull. Everyone was dull in this film. I didn't give a fuck about anyone. In fact, at the end, when the dude dies and she's crying, like, literally I wanted to cry. I was just like, this is so bad. Like, it's so bad. And you know they're gonna make another one.
Well, depends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he set it up pretty strong for
it's set up for another one.
One of my notes is, please don't make any more of these. That's one of my notes.
Well, instead of spending 30 minutes of epic slow-mo farming, let's try to have some character moments. The cybernetic woman, I don't give a shit, and they didn't even give her anything to do. And, like, there's, like, barely any lines for her. Why is she even there? Like, this is your opportunity to set up in the first hour to make sure that the second hour, we give a shit when they start to die. Like, this could have been its own standalone movie, potentially.
Right.
With actual good character developing scenes. The very beginning, she thinks that Noble's dead. And then, I forget, they get word that he's not dead. And then they're suddenly, oh, what do we do? Oh, we got to get that grain. And here's another thing. Is grain in such small supply that they dare not blow this farm off the face of the planet? Like, there's nowhere else to get grain?
I had the same thought, personally. I was like, this is dumb.
Oh, and by the way, where's the future tech to fucking farm?
Yeah, there's future tech to, like, bring fools back from life. There's future, like, literally dead.
Yes.
They can put some dude in a cocoon and bring him back to life, but they can't make fucking fake food. Like, give me a break, dude.
They got to do everything by hand. I know it looks better in slow-mo, but they haven't heard of a tractor or space tractor or anything that could quicken the process.
Dog shit. That's what this movie is.
So what I wasn't looking forward to it, but what I was banking on, well, this part would be nice, was more scenes with the robot. Character development with the robot. And
exactly.
He shows up in like 2 fucking scenes, dude. And it's like he was so OP that he could have probably single-handedly fucking won the battle for him.
Yeah.
They purposely held back on him because he's so powerful. Like, I think he took a direct hit blast from the cannon.
Yeah, he took multiple direct hits. Like, he just kind of, like, shook off all the fire. Like, and those hits are just melting through armor. It doesn't do anything to him. I was like, okay, I guess he's, you know, impenetrable. Fun.
Why was he wearing antlers at the end of the first movie? Because they don't explain it at all.
I know. I thought we were going to learn more about him. That's what I thought the same thing. I was like, dude, I'm so excited to hear about this robot. When they show the robot at the end, I was like, oh, he's going to be dope in the next movie. And literally useless. Completely pointless.
That was my biggest positive note for the first film.
Right.
Was I really liked the Anthony Hopkins robot. I look forward to seeing more of him.
Yeah, me too. That's how I felt too.
Actually, we got more of him in the first movie than in this movie.
How are you going to save a character like that for the second film? And then when you literally only have a part 1 and a part 2, basically you're just setting him up for the next film. Don't set someone up in the first movie at like they're going to be a big part of the next one and then completely not use them until the possible third movie that isn't even greenlit. You know, I mean, that makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense when it's the character that everyone wanted to see more of because he was the only character with any sort of feeling or emotion. Or, I mean, how is a robot the best fucking actor in the whole goddamn movie?
And instead, you give screen time to the cybernetic assassin lady who has barely says anything. Like, why don't you just get rid of her and have the robot? Or how about have her and him have a conversation? Like, her and him bond.
Totally.
Because they have a connection. There you go. That would have been amazing. Then we would learn more about her through her conversations with him, because they both share a feeling of not belonging, of fakeness, of falseness, because of their cybernetic, functions. Like, instead of fucking 30 minutes, 20 minutes, it probably wasn't this long in terms of the farming, but it really felt like it. I laughed out loud when the slow-mo farming started. I'm like, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
Literally, one of my notes is, in between Jesus Christ slow-mo grain shots, okay, and the note after, which is, how much time do we need to spend harvesting grain? In between those two notes is, kill me now.
Yeah, they really rated the Shutterstock like B-roll footage of grain with just the sunbeams like lens flaring between each stalk, and like, what am I watching, man?
Harvesting porn. That's what it is.
This is supposed to be the fucking culmination, the setup of the epic. Like, the part one should have been technically all the not fun stuff. Like what Dennis Villeneuve said about Dune. Part one is all kind of set up, and part two, now we get to play.
Yeah.
And this is what we fucking do. The fight choreography, there's literally like one scene on the bridge in the farm with Djimon Hounsou and blackface Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, so one of my very first note is, did they lighten up blackface Matthew McConaughey's shade a little bit? Because he didn't look nearly as
black-faced.
Yeah, he looked more tan than blackface now in this movie.
Well, you would think it would be the opposite. He'd been out in the fucking sun doing all that work, the manual labor.
Exactly. Well, it's funny. I'm looking at him, I'm like, yeah, he looks kind of like Matthew McConaughey. And then at the very end, when they're all like standing there or something, I think when they like cheer, I'm like, damn, that motherfucker looks a lot like Matthew McConaughey in this shot here. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's uncanny.
I mean, there was a lot of in middle battle, and cheering, and it just felt weird and out of place. But I was gonna say, like, there was one moment so awful when he swung his axe, and it's all in slow mo. So every little misstep,
you see all the bullshit.
It like you could see it like bounce off the guy's
side, really? I didn't even catch that.
And it didn't make an impact or anything, but the guy like reacted like, oh. I'm sure there's more moments like that, but that one just like stood out. And again, when you slow down everything in an action scene, these little flaws stick out. And then when she was jumping down to the coal bin or whatever, she did this like Russian ballet pose.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that.
One arm was up. I had to rewind. Like, why is her arm posed like that while she's shooting? It's so like staged and awkward. It just.
Well, there's a part where she's like getting out of the elevator in that same like sequence when she's on the ship. Mm-hmm. She's fighting, and then she like grabs the ceiling and does this super awkward like spin kick sort of thing. And I'm like, dude, that fool has a sword. Like, why didn't he just chop your ass in half right there? You know what I mean? Like, it was just so awkward how it went down. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this is so bad. Anytime they got to the hand-to-hand stuff, most of it was pretty bad. Once or twice there was some good stuff, but I liked a lot of the gunplay stuff. I felt like the gunplay stuff was kind of decent. Well, not gunplay, but like the big battle with like the crawler and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there were things about the actual war scene that I thought were decent, but still the movie was so bad it's hard to even think about those moments.
Well, it's hard to be invested in it. Like,
well, you're not. You're not invested. It's just too bad.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy. The movie is like watching a trailer for an action film.
Right.
Like you don't know enough to be invested in the story, but you could say, "Well, that looks kind of cool." You know what I mean? Like like the action looks great. So it's those cool little action moments that want to maybe get you leaning forward and watching the film, and hopefully there's more depth to it. But there's not more depth to this one.
There is nothing there.
I wrote epic haircutting and shaving. Was there a moment of epic haircutting and shaving?
I don't remember that. I remember her like starting to cut her hair, but like she did one snip and then it was just cut to whatever.
And then Noble did an Iron Man landing into the hidey hole.
Oh, right.
And then the robot did the same Iron Man landing when he blew up the tank, perfectly posed. Djimon Hounsou's speech, Like he
so bad.
It's bad because we haven't established anyone. The film is telling us how great they are.
Right.
We never really see it. Maybe it's the perception of Bird Boy, the Prince. Hey, that didn't come up at all. The Prince.
Right.
The runaway prince. There's a scene where I wrote, the girl almost raped, giving gifts from nobility and strength. So there's a scene where she's giving them gifts.
Oh, right.
And like each gift has a meaning. They're supposed to be like, related to an attribute of them. But they've done nothing. You've just met them. Did you have a like sidebar meeting? Did Cora say, that guy's really strong, so he should be... None of this works because part one did such a lousy job of setting these characters up that you have to do it in part two, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
Like you literally don't care. It's like watching your child play with his action figures. Like he's having a lot of fun and shit is flying around, but you're not emotionally invested. I read there was a review that I think hit it. This is the perfect movie for scrolling on your Instagram.
Oh, right.
Catching at the corner of your eye.
Yeah, totally.
If you do it like that, you may actually think it's okay.
That is true. That's a good point. That's a damn good point.
Yeah, I thought it was a great point. During the first 30 minutes of hot farming action, you could be looking at Instagram models and whatever floats your boat. Or a party movie. Put it on at a party, right?
So the music was so over the top during the killing of the royal family at the beginning when they're showing how she was set up as like the killer of the royal family, right? Dude, the music was so over the top. I mean, the music sucked, like in the whole film. Like the music was so just way, I don't know, it was just so pretentious. Like the operatic singers and shit.
Do it. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for, child? Do it! Do it. No. Do it. Kill her. Kill her! No!
Well, it's all over the place.
It just reeks of mediocrity. You know what I mean? Everything is so mediocre in this movie that it combines into something that's even worse than all of these pieces by themselves.
There's no thought other than, we got to just make it epic here. Without any further thought, it's very superficial. So I will say the scene where the Child of Light, the princess, gets killed by Cora, and that's the big reveal. Cora actually goes along with, I guess, a mutiny and kills the princess. And it turns out she's not really dead. That's the big reveal. I did like the hooded cello players.
Yeah.
The orchestra, what was the point of that? They were
probably just to keep them from, like, so they don't see who's there or
anything.
No.
I mean, the king was expecting... He's like, wait, something's wrong. What did he think he was walking into?
Oh, he was going to christen the new dreadnought. Like, he christens every new ship that's created.
Oh, okay. Well, you paid more attention than I did. That makes sense.
Well, the thing about this is it has a very, like, Warhammer 40K sort of look to it. Like, the dreadnoughts look like kind of rounded off ships from Warhammer 40K, like the Space Marine ships from 40K, and the Imperium is what they're called. All the characters and stuff look very 40K inspired and had a very similar sort of feel to it, but I do not claim these movies as having anything to do with 40K because they are fucking dog shit. It's just a shame.
I wrote Jaimin and blackface Matthew McConaughey synchronized victory yell.
Yeah, just in time for the second wave of enemies to show up. I was like, dude, seriously? Okay, so this guy's a general and he doesn't realize that there's a second wave of infantry with heavy armor walking. Come on, man.
Yeah.
No wonder you fucking got captured, because you're a shitty general. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
Yeah, there's no lookouts like with scopes. Or maybe they're too primitive for scopes since they have to use a garden hoe to cull their crops. And I made a note. This is peak mediocrity. This is the death rattle of Zack Snyder's creativity. Slow-mo 300 kick, but now with lasers, Jaimin Hunsu. There's like a slow, like it's shades of 300 where he kicks this guy. And I'm thinking, whoa, we're just all the bag of tricks, right? We're just gonna throw it all fucking in there. It was so amazing when he did it the first time. Then it became parody,
right?
And now the guy who originated is fucking doing it again.
Yep.
Like it's what happened to him, man? Like what's going on with Zack Snyder? Like
he's a one-trick pony, man. I just feel like he probably doesn't have that much in his wheelhouse.
Man of Steel, I really like Man of Steel.
Oh, I love Man of Steel.
And maybe it comes down to because he wrote the script for this. And I think Man of Steel was David Goyer. So maybe he's not a guy that should be writing.
I mean, David Goyer is a good writer. So, yeah. I mean, that's a,
Because it feels passionless. It feels, you know what it feels like? It feels like John Carpenter, near the end of his career, his movies are fucking awful. It didn't have the spark or the energy and the ingenuity of his earlier films. I mean, there's a reason why he retired. Anything else we could say about this fucking nightmare of a movie?
God, not much. I mean, it's so bad. It's just like, see, and I'm going to tell, okay, this is for all our listeners out there who say, why don't we do more bad movies? Because it's hard to do bad movies.
Mm-hmm.
Bad movies are easier done where you can like sit down and watch them like with your audience and talk shit like while you're watching them.
Well,
you know what I mean? Because like it's hard to like keep shitty stuff like unless it's so bad like slow motion grain and shit, like farming and stuff. Like it's hard to keep this shit in your head. Like you laugh like, what the fuck was that? And then it's like gone. You know what I mean?
Well,
and so
there are degrees of bad, right? There's a bad movie that has a lot to chew on.
Sure.
Like a lot of like where they attempted to do something, a lot of like questionable dialogue.
Yeah.
This is just, it's so superficially generic and bad. Like it's like a flat line. The movie is like a living flat line. Like,
you know what comparison I'm going to make? The difference between this, a worthless bad movie, and a gem of a bad movie. Shout out to Autumn, the pirate movie.
Yeah, yes. It has a pulse. It has a pulse.
You might even say that the pirate movie is a worse movie. Someone might say that, right? But at least there's shit to talk about. And there's like, it's swinging for the fences and it's bad because it just couldn't get there. But there's shit, there's life in it. You know what I mean?
It's as simple as there's enjoyable bad and then there's painful bad.
Right.
This is painful. The so bad it's good. Like this isn't that movie. Those movies are a blast to review. Perfect example, maybe not perfect, but Showgirls.
That's not a perfect example because I fucking love
it. No.
Well, but that's the whole thing. Autumn loves the pirate movie.
Right.
You
can't say it's a...
Yeah, you can't say it's a good movie, exactly.
But its badness is what makes it endearing.
Oh, I love that movie.
There's nothing endearing in this. It's reheated, rewarmed over bullshit.
Exactly.
From better films. And better films from the same filmmaker.
Yeah.
Which makes it worse. Like if this wasn't Zack Snyder, you can at least say, well, this guy has a hard on for Zack Snyder. But good job replicating Zack Snyder. I'll give him that. Like it feels like a Zack Snyder. We can't even say that because this is Zack Snyder. This is Zack Snyder parodying himself.
Oh my God. You know what? If he had made this as a parody, I might have loved it. You know what I mean? Like if this was a parody, it probably would have fucking slapped. And that's what I'm saying. Like, let other people tell you something is epic. You know what I mean? When you go for epic, you're going to turn it into this. Like, it's either going to be amazing, which at this point, sorry, Zach, you're not making anything amazing, especially if you're writing it. Like, don't write your own film, Zach. Just don't. Don't. Like, you're not a writer, you suck. Like, you're barely a director anymore. Like, you know what I mean? But don't write your own films. Get a good writer. And when people tell you, what are you doing? This makes no sense. Listen to them. Listen. Like, do not fill your test screenings with a bunch of people that are just, gargling your nuts.
The words genius and epic are thrown around liberally. It drives me crazy. It seems like people have forgotten the definition of both. Speaking of, just in terms of epic only happens when you give a shit about the characters.
Exactly.
I give you Lord of the Rings. Like, it took its time. It established the characters. You care about it. So when they go in the mines of Moria, like, and all hell breaks loose and Gandalf falls, you've earned that epic moment. Like,
true.
It's the music swells because it deserves to swell, because it's an intense situation, and our misguided heroes, they're in peril. There's peril all around them, but we spent like a good hour of movie making you care about why. You know why they're on the journey. You know what's at stake. You know pretty much each of the characters and their quirks and whatever. So when they die, you feel something. That's epic. I remember when I saw that movie, and I've never forgotten it. There's a kid sitting near me with his dad, and he was watching, like, in the mines, when they were rocking the pillar back and forth.
Right.
And he turned to his dad and said, "This is so cool." And in that moment, I realized that kid forever will remember this.
Yeah.
He's with his dad. He's seeing something amazing.
Yep.
And like us, we look back fondly on those moments and their imprint on us. Who's going to look back fondly? I guess it's possible. Maybe with, someone who hasn't been born yet, or someone, who's young enough. Maybe the Zack Snyder film like this is their first engagement with what is considered epic.
Ugh.
And maybe that'll be their Rosetta Stone. But
oh God, no.
Maybe we've seen too much.
As long as if that is the case, please God, do not let that person go into filmmaking.
Well, that's what we have to like.
Like, do not.
That kid is inspired by Peter Jackson. We're in good hands.
Fuck that kid.
Inspired
that's all I'm
by
saying.
Zack Snyder.
Fuck that kid.
When I saw Mick G's Charlie's Angels, man. One good thing about a bad movie, reviewers, like, they just, they drop their drawers. Like, this is their time to shine and write creative shit. One guy was like, after this film, he should be banished from Hollywood like Mick G has been. And I just realized I haven't seen a Mick G film in a long fucking time. For a while, Mick G
was a thing,
man. What's his real fucking name? It's not Mick G, right? That always bugged me. Fucking Mick G. Unless you're on the menu for McDonald's, what's your God-given name?
Joseph McGinty Nickel.
He's from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Was that what his homies called him? Mick G?
He's from fucking Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo. That is crazy.
I'm from Kalamazoo, where the vampires hang out.
I'm from Waterloo, where the vampires hang out.
Yeah.
Oh, I did write LED light healing cables. Nobles, his rejuvenation tank reminded me of Dan has one of those cables in his bay.
Yeah,
the light,
right.
Like strobes.
Yep.
All right. How's that work exactly, Zach? I don't know. It looks fucking cool.
I just thought it was funny how there was two cables that were into his right side that were green, and I was like, well, I guess those are the bile cables. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I thought that to myself. I was just he put thought into this to the point where why? I don't know, man. It just, he uses so much of his brain power on how to make things look a certain way, but zero brain power on how to make people give a shit or how to make a good movie.
It's George Lucas.
You know what I mean?
It's George Lucas.
Oh yeah, totally.
The original three, the 1, 2, and 3, which Phantom Menace is back in theaters, by the way, or coming back in theaters.
I heard.
Mark your calendar.
Gross.
Yeah, those. I'm sorry, those films
That'd be good for a nap.
Were dog shit. Because he had nothing but yes man.
Yeah.
And Lucas he's the faster, more intense. That's his famous direction. Right? I think it was Carrie Fisher that said that. Or Mark Hamill. Or all of them. Because they probably received the same direction. He should never write anything.
Yep.
Even with co-writers.
He shouldn't even direct anything.
Well, I'm not going to say that. Because Man of Steel, again, I really enjoyed Man of Steel.
Oh, I thought you were I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about George Lucas still.
Oh. I mean, Lucas, I don't think he's a great director.
I think he's a great idea man.
Exactly. He's a great idea man. And there's a place for that. There's a value to that.
There is huge value to that. Because tell you the truth, that's what a lot of people have trouble with. A lot of people have trouble with that, just creating an idea.
It's the spark that ignites the furnace, right?
The spark. Yeah. You get people who can do all the jobs that need to be done in order to complete that idea. But That spark is rare. And to have that spark and have the ability to execute is even more rare.
One final question. So do you think Zack Snyder is in director's jail? Should he be?
For me?
In general, like just as a talent, as someone who's contributed pop culture, do you think this guy has any more to offer, or he just needs to be?
I do. I mean, I think he might have more to offer if he can get out of his echo chamber, stop trying to do everything yourself, take a really good story, a really good idea, and run with it. But just fucking quit the slow-mo so much. Like, seriously, like that's one of the things that bothers me the most. It's like, bro, this movie might have been good if you dialed back the operatic music and dialed back the slow-mo. And instead of slow-mo every time you have a fight scene, do some really fast, like John Wick style fight stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. I thought about that watching this.
And you know me, I'm not even a big John Wick fan. In fact, I tried to go through and watch all the John Wicks. I don't think I got through the second movie. You know what? I think I got through almost to the end of the second movie, and then we just kind of stopped watching, and I never rewatched it.
Now imagine John Wick in slow-mo, where everything was just slow-mo ballet.
Well, but that's the whole thing. They do a little bit of slow-mo in John Wick, and they use it sparingly, which makes sense, you know? But like real fast fight choreography would be such a welcome change. Just use slow-mo where you need it. Once you put it in, even then, go back and ask yourself, do I really need slow-mo here? Because Zack Snyder's going to use it too much. And so he needs to tell himself, I'm not going to use it as much, and go back in afterwards and be like, am I still using it too much?
Someone out there, someone listening, and maybe someone's done it already, should take these movies, download it, and speed them up. Speed up all the slow-mo shots so it's like normal speed and see how it plays out.
I would love to see that.
I bet you it'd be a lot better, dude.
I bet it would be.
A lot better. I asked that question because the choice of slow-mo and his choice of direction, that's not the script. That's him.
No, that is him.
So that's why I'm like, does this guy have it anymore? Is he really out of ideas and juice?
I don't know.
Or is he so insulated that he doesn't see that this is too much? Like, how can he not see this is too much?
I think that's what it is.
It's just weird. It's a strange thing.
Well, you and I, it's like we don't have celebrity status, right? When you have a celebrity status, you start to really kind of believe your own bullshit, you know? And you have enough people around you making you think, oh, no, that's fine. Like helping you. They're enablers, enabling you to believe your own bullshit.
Right.
That you don't know. You know what I mean? It might not be so easy to tell.
And if they're hangers-on, the thing about hangers-on, as opposed to a true friend or someone who doesn't have skin in the game,
right? The
skin being employed by you, they're afraid to tell you no.
I don't want to lose my meal ticket.
You're surrounded by 10 guys and 9 are yes men. Are you going to be the lone guy to say no? That you're taking a risk because that's a nice fat paycheck.
Exactly.
I mean, who's that going to believe? The 9 motherfuckers that are saying, oh, that one guy, don't fucking listen to him.
Right.
Then suddenly, you know, why am I keeping him around? He's clearly wrong because I'm right and these guys agree with me. So it's an echo chamber. What are you going to rate Rebel Moon Part 2 Scargiver?
I don't know. I can't remember what I gave the last one. I'm going to give this one a 1. I'm going to give it 1 poorly executed jump spin move off the ceiling out of 5. Like, it's just bad.
I will give this 1 rubber battle axe bouncing uselessly off armor out of 5. Oh, so awful.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
So if you would like to support this show, keep us going, keep us rolling along, uploading content, you can support us by going to patreon.com/baldguysbadmovies and donate to the show. We're going to use those funds to make sure we can see any movies that you guys want to see and getting our studio set up so we can start recording video and doing these not just audio but also video on YouTube. And once a month, we will pick a patron to choose a movie for us to review. And we'll review it. We'll dedicate it to you. But either way, we just hope you enjoy the show and keep on coming back.
Here's a 1-minute film school to help you make something epic. If you do like some little push on your friend into a close-up and you use slow motion as they turn and look, it really will add to the cinematic quality of the shots you're making.